He lied about a $1 stock, made millions, and only served 22 months in jail. Then Hollywood turned his crimes into a blockbuster. This is the story of Jordan Belfort, the man who scammed America and got rich again doing it. And the wildest part, people still cheer for him. Bayside, Queens, 1962, a working-class Jewish neighborhood where dreams were modest and ambition had a ceiling. But one kid, Jordan Belfort, had no interest in ceilings. 1 lemon ice, please? For you, 2 for 1, but only if you tell 3 friends. What are you, 12? 16, and I'm going to be rich. By summer's end, he made 20 grand selling Italian ices. At 16, most teens would have blown it on a Camaro. Jordan, he enrolled in dental school. First day, the dean stood up and said, "If you're here to get rich, you're in the wrong profession." Jordan stood up, nodded, and walked out, just like that. Because he wasn't there to clean teeth. He was there to get rich, and this was not the path. Next stop, meat. After college, Jordan launched a door-to-door meat and seafood business. Yes, really. You sell what now? USDA Prime. Ma'am, flash frozen, hormone-free, and cheaper than your local butcher. I don't eat red meat. Fantastic. Let me show you our premium salmon fillets. It was messy, scrappy, but surprisingly successful. $100,000 a month in sales, with no trucks, no storage, no clue, just Jordan, hustling, grinding, melting steaks in the back seat. Late deliveries, spoiled meat, mountains of unpaid invoices. It all caught up fast. Within months, the business went bankrupt. But in the wreckage, Jordan found something that turned out to be his superpower. The product didn't matter. Steaks, surfboards, stocks. Yes, you could sell anything. And just like that, the salesman was born. Jordan didn't need a better product. He needed a better payout. Enter Wall Street. Jordan landed an entry-level job at L.F. Rothschild, a legit firm, with suits, quotas, and cocaine in the bathroom stalls. It was the 1980s after all. This was where he got his first taste of real money, real greed, and real power. He learned how the markets moved, how the brokers talked, and most importantly, how they sold. But suddenly, October 1987 came. It's Black Monday. Phones stopped ringing. Brokers stared at the crashing ticker. The markets crashed. Jordan was fired. But while others mourned, Jordan saw something else, an opportunity. He discovered penny stocks, pink sheet garbage no serious broker would touch, unregulated, illiquid. But here's the magic, 50% commissions. Same pitch, 10 times the reward. No fancy degrees required, just a fast phone and a faster mouth. So Jordan picked up the phone, called some poor guy in Nebraska. "Hello, Mr. Michael. Listen to me. This company is tiny now, yes, but it's sitting on a piece of technology that's going to disrupt the entire home entertainment industry. I'm talking about a ground floor opportunity, pre-IPO, completely under Wall Street's radar. The big guys haven't even sniffed this one out yet, but when they do, boom, we're talking a 10x return minimum. You get in now at $1 a share, and in 6 months, you're not calling me to thank me. You're calling me from your beach house in Maui. So here's what we're going to do. I'm locking you in for 4,000 shares. Sound good?" I'm not really sure I understand the company." "You don't have to understand the company, sir. You just have to understand the upside. That's what smart money does. They act before the crowd catches on. So do you want to be first, or do you want to read about it in Forbes a year from now, saying, 'God, I wish I had listened'?" And just like that, he closed $4,000 with a single call. No rules, no regulators, no breaks, just cold calls and pure adrenaline. He'd found his kingdom, and he was ready to build an empire. 1989, Belfort was already pouring the next round, and this time he wasn't alone. Enter Danny Porish, a fast-talking, drunk-snorting misfit from Long Island with the charm of a salesman and the instincts of a hustler. He wasn't from Wall Street, and on some days it didn't feel like he was from the same planet. but he could close, and Jordan saw something in him. Hunger, loyalty, no breaks. Together, they were dangerous. Jordan had the vision, Danny brought the chaos, and from that chaos, they built their empire. Introducing Stratton Oakmont. The name sounded prestigious, like it had a 100-year legacy and leather-bound books. In reality, it was a strip mall boiler room with flickering lights, mismatched desks, and exactly zero regulatory oversight. The early recruits, they weren't analysts, they weren't even qualified. They were bartenders, college dropouts, and neighborhood hustlers. But Jordan didn't want experience, he wanted hunger. He didn't need thinkers, he needed closers. Then came the training. Jordan developed a method called straight-line persuasion, a psychological pressure cooker designed to turn stammering rookies into high-pressure machines. He taught them to bulldoze hesitation, drown out doubt, and guide a prospect from hello to where do I send the check in a single unbroken line. Soon the office took on a rhythm, fast, loud, and addictive. Phones never stopped ringing, orders never stopped flowing. The energy was electric, the egos were growing, and so was the money. But Stratton's brilliance wasn't just in how it sold, it was in who it sold to. They targeted the forgotten investors, the working-class retirees, the desperate parents, the people Wall Street ignored. Stratton sold them hope, wrapped in urgency, dressed in false certainty, backed by made-up projections. At first, it was obscure penny stocks, pink sheet garbage with names like BZZT or YUMU, companies that barely existed outside their own press releases. But once the money started flowing, the schemes evolved. Now it wasn't just fake companies, it was real IPOs. They bought up massive blocks of cheap shares, then turned the sales floor into a hype machine. Call after call, promise after promise. They flooded the market with manufactured excitement, spiked the stock, and then dumped everything at the top, leaving thousands of investors holding the bag. It was called a pump and dump, but at Stratton Oakmont, it was another Tuesday. By the early 90s, the firm had exploded. Stratton wasn't just a brokerage, it was a carnival. The office, a blur of screaming phones, air horns, testosterone, $2,000 suits, and enough narcotics to kill a rhinoceros. Jordan built a system where fear and loyalty were currency. Top performers were treated like royalty, bonus checks, vacations, even watches tossed across the office like candy. Underperformers humiliated, cut loose, replaced in hours. And then came the parties. Strippers in the conference room, champagne overflowing in the fax machines, lines of coke snorted off compliance manuals. Nothing was sacred, not the furniture, not the company car, not even the fire extinguisher. Someone once filled with whipped cream and tequila. Jordan had officially become a cult leader in Armani. He bought a helicopter. He named his yacht after his wife, Naomi. He owned mansions, Lamborghinis, and Rolexes. And through it all, he preached the same sermon. Success is everything, and if you're not winning, you're nothing. On paper, Stratton Oakmont was thriving. They brought companies public. They raised hundreds of millions. The firm was growing faster than anyone could believe. But under the surface, it was all smoke and mirrors. Because when you can't sell the truth, you sell the dream. And Jordan Belfort had built an empire doing exactly that. By 1994, Stratton Oakmont was on fire, taking companies public, moving millions, and pulling in national attention. But beneath the success, the structure was starting to rot. The firm's IPO model was aggressive, familiar, and increasingly reckless. Same playbook: overhype the stock, oversell the dream, and exit before reality catches up. But this time, they weren't invisible anymore. The SEC had flagged a growing list of suspicious filings. Complaints were piling up from investors who bought in at $7 and watched it crash to $30. Internally, some brokers were starting to ask questions. They were pushing stocks with no revenue, no product, sometimes no working phone number. The management's answer? Close the deal or get out. And while the firm grew, so did the complexity of hiding the money. Millions were funneled offshore through a web of shell companies. Some accounts were under Jordan's aunt's name in the UK.
Others were parked in Geneva under company names that didn't exist. At one point, Jordan moved funds using couriers, including a housekeeper, smuggling cash sewn into her bra. Jordan called it asset protection. The FBI called it laundering. Inside the firm, things were changing. Drug use, once a reward, became a necessity. Quaaludes slowed their speech. Cocaine sped them back up. People passed out during calls. One broker had a seizure on the sales floor. Fights broke out over commissions, women, or just too much testosterone. At least 2 employees had to be escorted out after violent outbursts. And Jordan, he was unraveling faster than the firm. His marriage to his wife Naomi was disintegrating. She'd find pills in the couch cushions, syringes in the bathroom. He once crashed his Ferrari into a pillar while high on lewd wads with his